All right, so we are live, we are recording, and just to kick things off, my name is Danae Bali, and as I mentioned, I am here in Orange County, California, and I've been selling real estate for 17 years, and I am very excited to be here today because I've been with EXP since July of last year, so fairly new for me. But one of the best things so far is the networking opportunities and the people that I've gotten to know. So I'm excited to collaborate with all of you today. And Jennifer is my co-host, my equal co-host. Broadcasting from South Carolina. So you got the East Coast and the West Coast, as I mentioned. And today's topic is really just about um, basically, I believe in real estate, there's no right or wrong way to generate business, right? So you can do I have a buyer letter. You can be really good on social media. You can be a door knocker. You can do YouTube videos. You can do a variety of things. But at the end of the day, I believe now more than ever, people are going to Google you before they sign the deal with you, right? So when they Google you, what are they seeing? And is your online presence going to support you or is it going to hurt you? So we're going to dive into that today. I'll tell you one thing, this will not be a 1 hour drown on and on training. This is going to be just information packed, straight to the point. We're going to leave you with some action tips that you can literally hang up from today's webinar and jump right into action and handle it. You can even email it to Jennifer and I, and we will help you. So let's sell some houses and make things happen. One of the great things about EXP is that we are stock owners. And so when you do well, I do well. So I want to help you all and support you all. So just to kick it off, I did create a little poll. I should just pop up on your screen. So if you could just take a second to answer that. I'm just curious to see where you guys think you're at with your online presence. So the question says, do you feel about your online presence? That's a typo. How do you feel about your online presence? If someone Googles you, will they call you? Will they feel confident after Googling you that you're the agent that they want to work with? So if you guys could answer that poll, it'll help me understand where you guys are at. And it's just something really fun to kind of kick us off. Yeah, well, right on. It looks like you guys, we all have opportunity to improve our online presence. I will tell you, so much of the social media gets very overwhelming, and we're gonna make it easy for you today. So you should walk away after today feeling really good about everything, and get you a strong presence. Okay, so let me see, just to let you guys know, it looks like most of you voted 3 out of 5 or 2 out of 5 as far as how you're feeling about your online presence. So that's good. That means we can help you feel confident. So, okay, right on. So as I mentioned, we are all with EXP, or actually I should say not all of us are with EXP. There's opportunity for you guys to invite your friends. So whether you're joining us from Remax, Coldwell Banker, EXP, welcome. We're all, realtors in the business, so it's fun to collaborate with you all. But here at EXP, basically, we are in a self-formed organization. We call ourselves the Empire Builders Group, and if you are with us, you are with us. And we are very proud of our group. We've got some amazing talent in the group. And as Empire Builders, we want to network every single week and bring you guys tips and ideas to grow your business. So some of the people here in our Empire Builders, they're listed on the side here, but just amazing talent. Cliff Freeman is actually one I have not taken advantage of yet, just being newer to EXP, but he's got an amazing training program that we all have access to. I'm going to dive into that later this week. Meg Watson, I've gotten to know. Shelly Johnson, I've gotten to know. I mean, $95 million team. She's amazing. All these people, if you want to talk to them, they're all available. They're all super friendly, down to earth. So connect with us if we can put you in touch with them. But it's just to support each other and, do share ideas and tips, and makes us all stronger. So today's training. Okay, it is going to be basic, but it is also very foundational. So you cannot underestimate the power of having a strong online presence. So when people Google you, you will stand out and show up strong. So today we're going to talk about creating your bio. Your bio is who you are and why they should work with you. The websites that you need to put the bio on, And then we're going to talk about what types of images you want to post, because whether you're on, Facebook, Instagram, what have you, the types of images that you post should have a theme so that it supports your brand. And then we have a very special bonus, which is Jennifer. She's my co host, and she is known as the branding queen. So, this is the value of being a part of Empire Builders. Robin Phillips, who we are connected and got to know each other by, says that Jennifer is the branding queen. And so she is going to give us some tips and tricks on how she built her brand, why she built her brand. And she is known as the fairy godmother of real estate. So it's pretty awesome. So she's going to share with us that as well. And I guess before we jump into it too, I will remind you, it is collaborative in nature. So if you have any questions, you can use the Zoom buttons to ask your questions, and we're happy to, jump around anytime you guys want to stop. We'll dive into your questions. So getting right to it. Why is the bio so important? I have really, really stressed the importance of writing a strong bio. And the reason that it's so important is that we truly work our faces off in this business, right? And then we, pound the pavement and knock the doors, or we spend the money on Zillow and spend $3,000 to finally get the guy who books an appointment, and then he goes dark on you. Or maybe your cousin had a great experience with you and they refer all their friends to you, but they never actually call you. Or maybe someone here in Empire Builders, one of your realtor friends wants to refer business to you. They say they will, but then the referrals never show up. And I believe the number one reason that you're not doing well, or you're prohibited from doing well, is your online presence, and your bio is probably the biggest component of that. So writing a strong bio is super important so that when people Google you, you come up the way you want to be seen. I know personally, I'll just tell this quick story. So I had a referral for another realtor, and it was in Palm Desert, which is like 2 hours from my home. So I went in the MLS. I wanted to refer it to an EXP agent. I found 5 agents that have recently sold properties there, and I Googled each one to find who I was going to refer it to. The first guy I Googled, his LinkedIn profile came up, and his LinkedIn profile says he wasn't a realtor. It said he was a photographer. I'm like, well, maybe he also sells real estate on the side. So I was uncomfortable referring him because obviously he's not focused on real estate. So I'm like, next. The next guy I Googled came up stronger. He hit the website that came up for him was his Yelp. It had a lot of reviews, but the Yelp still said that he was with Remax. I'm like, well, if he doesn't know how to update his site, I'm not comfortable referring him. So I'm like, next. So you get the point. You can see how your online presence really makes a big difference. And who I ultimately ended up referring, I copied their bio and I pasted it in an email and sent it to my client. Like, hey, this is a colleague of mine. You can see their online reviews. You can see they grew up in Palm Desert. They've been selling here for 10 years. This is the guy you want to talk to. And boom, the introduction was made. So the other agents, they don't even know that they lost out on opportunity because they didn't have a strong online presence. There was a third person I Googled. What came up was their realtor.com profile, and it was completely blank. No picture, no bio, nothing. So again, lost opportunities. So that's why it's so important. Jennifer, do you want to share a story as well? I think you have a online example of, I think you mentioned before we started, a friend of yours that had an online experience.
Yeah, I think she's on here actually. Amanda Wilson. She's a brand new agent. She is just happens to be, in my opinion, the queen of social media. She is all about just going out there and putting herself out there and making sure that she shows up on social media all the time. She ended up, a friend of a friend of a friend through Facebook had narrowed it down to 2 realtors that she was introducing to someone that had an estate, a historical estate in Charleston to sell. And she is in the running with another agent, all because she has such a great presence online. And she has made herself, she is literally the definition of fake it till you make it.
I love it.
So yeah.
So killer. Well, we will make this easy on you guys so you guys can have the same type of presence, but that is what it's all about. She's out there hustling, and then the business is following. So it's awesome.
Yeah.
So when you do your bio, we have to ask ourselves, like, what does the customer want? What do they want to see when they Google you, right? Because what I have seen when I've looked at other realtors' bios is a bunch of blah 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 and a bunch of fluff about, they're hardworking and they're trustworthy, and those are all things that are a given, but that doesn't tell me anything about you. So if you imagine, if Jennifer and I want to go buy a vacation property in Hawaii together, right? We are going to ask ourselves, like, hey, Jennifer, let's go buy a vacation property in Hawaii. And then we're like, okay, well, which island are we going to buy? Do we want the mountain house or the beachfront house? Do we want the condo? Do we want the house? Do we want, there's all these variables, right? And the number one thing that I would want from my realtor in Hawaii, and ask yourselves the same question, what I would want is I want them to know the local area. If they don't know the local area, I don't want to work with them. I don't care if they have 1 year in business, 10 years in business, but the most important to me is this the rainy side of the island or the sunny side of the island? Is this the part of the island with the best surf spots, or is this the best scuba spots? Like, is this the best school district, or is there the best restaurants? So I would want them to have local market knowledge. So number one is local market knowledge when you're writing your bios. And if you look at what does a seller want from a realtor, I believe what the seller wants is they don't want to be screwed. Okay, so how do you write your bio in a way that says, I will not screw you? And I think the way you prove it, like, I'm going to have your best interest at heart. I'm going to get you the best deal. I'm going to take care of you. I think the way that you prove that is with sales history, with online reviews and testimonials, being local, and being rooted in the community. Okay, because if you can say to your customers via your bio that I live in Irvine. So if you say you live in Irvine, you love Irvine, you've sold a bunch of homes in Irvine, you just got your last seller, 10,000 over list price, all of these things say, I'm not going to screw you. I'm going to take good care of you. So that's kind of how you build your bio. And it basically is going to make working with you an easy decision for your customers. So very specifically on how to write a good bio, I think it needs to go in this order. First, you have to say you're local. Like, literally, the very first sentence in your bio should say, I'm a real estate agent who lives and works in Irvine. I've lived here for the last 10 years. I grew up here, whatever you want to say, but you've got to say you're local. You don't have to have grown up in the area, but you have to, say that you've lived here, you've visited here. Again, just kind of go with the local experience. After you prove to them that you're local, the next thing you want to talk about is your experience and your education. If you're new, that's okay. You still have experience and you still have education, because you can rely on your team, your colleagues, your EXP, any certifications or trainings that you've done, put all of that. After that, in your bio, I think you should talk about prior to real estate. There's a way to spin your past experiences that will help you as an agent, and you should mention that. I see a lot of agents not take advantage of that. Most of us didn't go straight from college straight into real estate, so there's some prior work experience. So I think that use that to your advantage. And then also important to your bio is the fun stuff. I think, we do want to work with the agent that is a good agent and local and has the experience and has a good business background. But I also want an agent who I'm going to enjoy working with. So I want to know, like, do you like Chihuahuas? Because I consider myself a Chihuahua mom. Or are you one that wants to kick the Chihuahua when you walk by? Because if you are, I don't want to work with you, right? So we have to have some things in common. So you should talk about some things that you like to do, and then also volunteer work, even churches that you go to, anything like that that will help you connect. That should also be in your bio. So any thoughts on that, Jennifer, before we jump to the next?
Yeah, I think it's really, I love what you say about spinning your past. And even if you're new, you can still spin things that, like, for example, I went to school for design. Well, I have a good creative side to me. So that helps me be able to help other people see things, because a lot of people aren't visual people. So that's just an example of that. And then, for fun stuff, I think that makes you seem more of a quote unquote person. You're a real life, actual person that has real interest, and you don't just work, that's a really good point.
Yeah. And this is easy to write. I don't think that it needs to be, a 12-page letter, right? It's basically 1 to 2 paragraphs. So I'm going to encourage you guys, after you write your bio, send it to me, send it to Jennifer, or send it to someone that knows you well, and we will help you look at it and say, like, yeah, this is
Absolutely.
based on this bio, I would want to work with you. Because
Yeah.
I have this is interesting. I have a new marketing campaign. I'm going after probate listings. So I'm trying to network with attorneys. So I've been Googling my competition. So I pulled all the probate sales in the MLS, and then I saw, okay, like Bob has like 7 probate sales last month. Like, what is Bob doing? So I Google Bob, right?
Yeah.
Bob's bio doesn't even say that he works with probate or specializes in this. It just says, like, basically he's a realtor, he works at Remax. Like, that's it. Doesn't say anything. I just thought that is such a mistake. So if you do use us to look at your bio, I'm happy to, but it's also a good idea to ask somebody who knows you well. So send it out there and make sure your bio is really good, because once you have a good bio, then we can move into making sure the bio is posted all over the internet. So the problem with people Googling you is you don't know which website is going to come up. So you can't just have a good realtor.com profile, because what if the LinkedIn profile comes up and then you have no information? So unfortunately, you do have to have a good bio and your headshot on all of these sites. You cannot just have one. So these are the main ones. It's your own website. This seems to be a given, but don't forget that one. Your brokerage's site, those EXP agents that I recently looked up, they didn't have their bios on the EXP site, which maybe is understandable since they didn't have their bios on much of any site. But your brokerage site is really important, because even if you don't use it, it does tend to rank high in the search engine searches. So you don't want to forget that one. And then the big ones are Zillow, Realtor.com, LinkedIn. You need a Yelp page. Yes, you do. And you need a Google business page. If you don't know how to do a Google business page, you go to business.google.com. You can get this page set up for you. Okay, so just a tip, you should have a Google Sheet or an Excel sheet of all your online profiles. So in one column, it says the website name. In the next column, it says when you last updated it. Okay, and what you should do is, whether it's twice a year or quarterly, you need to update your bio, because maybe you have a sentence in your bio that says you sold 125 million last year or something like that. Then you update it and say, now I've sold 130. So don't have an old bio either. So
Yep.
these are the sites for your bio. Um, Anything else you would recommend, Jennifer, on the online profiles?
I found this out, kind of the hard way once this year, but basically always check in with as you said, like quarterly or whatever. I think quarterly is a great idea, because I often don't know what people are stopping by at. And like, some people have posted stuff on my Google page and I don't know about it because I don't
Yes.
go on and
Yeah.
check myself all the time. So I say, even just checking what's coming up, like Google yourself all the time. I would Google myself every other month, just to see what people are seeing.
So important, right?
Yeah.
I actually have a recurring calendar event on my calendar. It's once a quarter, and it just pops up a little reminder, and it'll say, check your online profiles. So it
That's a
doesn't
great
take
idea.
long at all, but it's super important. So make sure you do that. Um, okay, so I have one last thought for you, and then we're going to talk to Jennifer about the fun part, branding. Okay, so when you dive into social media, I think that you can get really lost down a rabbit hole of how often do I post, and what do I post, and when do I post, and it can go pretty crazy. So the only thing that you need to remember, whether you post once a month or once a day, doesn't matter. Every single time you post, you want to have the post make people think of a theme that you want them to feel when they look at your post. So what I recommend is you need to come up with 6 theme words that you want people to feel when they work with you. The reason I say 6 is because Instagram has 3 photos across one row and 3 photos across the next row. So 6 is a nice little cluster. So if you want people to feel like you know what you're doing, then one of your 6 posts needs to portray that you know what you're doing in terms of selling real estate, right? if one of the things you want people to feel is that you're trustworthy, then you need to have the post say it's trustworthy. Now, here's the cool thing about the theme words. You can literally post your Chihuahua 6 days in a row and have the 6 different photos all portray a different theme. Okay. So if you want your customer to look at you and think, oh, Danae's a luxury agent, then I'll post the Chihuahua with the Louis Vuitton collar and say, my dog is spoiled. I don't know. It's just an example, right? If you want your customers to look at you and say, wow, she knows Irvine, then I would take a picture of the Chihuahua next to the Irvine park, or say that we're at the local, park. So so it doesn't really matter what you post. It could literally be the Chihuahua 6 posts in a row, but you need to always post with the intention of having your clients feel something when they see it. So if you come up with 6 theme words, it will really help you as you post. And I would literally post them. Just pull up your 6 words and say, okay, today's post is all about equality and love. So I'm going to post something that relates to that. And so it could be either through the actual image itself or what you write about the image. And that will help people when they do Google you, they will get that sense of who you are based on your post. But so you got to really think before you post, but this will, I think, make a huge difference in kind of relating and connecting to your customer.
Yeah, that's great. I like that.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So now this is my favorite part of the presentation today. I'm going to go back because we're going to talk to Jennifer Pratt.
That was great. I love that, the theme words part of it. It made me just get all in my head about it, because I like the, knowledgeable and trustworthy and the area that you are. I mean, there's 3 right there. So I think that with some brainstorming, that would be fun. Maybe I'll get my team of people that my partners that I'm partnered with together.
Yeah, so think about this. Like, instead of just posting, some people post a just sold. Instead of just posting the just sold, post the just sold, but have your description. You're trying to portray that you're knowledgeable. So post, we had to research hundreds of homes to find the best 10 to show them, 2 to write offers on 1 to get them. And then you're able to, so you can post anything, but it's going to tie back to the theme word.
Right. Like if you're, for right now, like if you know it and you're really good, I'm good. I think I'm pretty good at multiple offers, and that's really important right now. So that just gave me an idea. I need to post something about the multiple offers that I've been doing and stuff like that. So I love that. That's great. That's really great.
So Jennifer, tell us about your branding, because you are the queen of branding. You are actually not the
by
queen,
default,
the fairy godmother.
Yes.
You're the fairy godmother of real estate. So how did you come up with that, message, the brand, the image? How has it helped you?
Thank you. That's a good question. It was one of those things where I didn't sit down and think. It just kind of developed out of a question that I always asked my clients. I would say, if you could wave a magic wand, where would you want to live? And they would go, oh, and wait, I was just going to tell you I wanted a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home on a half an acre of land. But now, okay, well, I'm like, yeah, just set that aside. If you could wave a magic wand, money's not an issue, nothing's an issue. Oh, well, I would live on the water at Folly Beach, or I would, have a house in the country with, horses, or whatever it may be. And then they get out of their heads and into their hearts. And then I get to know them. And then it's a connection. And also I get to know, maybe they can't afford a house on Folly Beach or a horse farm, but down the road they might be able to. And I always can come back to that little nugget of knowledge, and it makes them have fun. And that's what it's about. So I would always say that. And then I had some clients, and I was feeling cheeky one day, and I was emailing with them, and I said, if you could wave a magic wand, where would you want to live? And I hadn't met them yet. And I said, I love your real estate fairy godmother. And then they were like, oh my gosh, I love that. And I was like, oh, I just called myself a name and it worked. It was just being kind of funny, and I was feeling kind of spunky. And that is how it started. And then I got a little name plaque from my door at my office where I used to work at a local brokerage. And then I was like, oh, I'm taking this to the next level when I joined EXP. So I made my logo. I woke up with this idea of having this logo of a caricature of me in a big, fairy godmother costume, waving at your magical house. And so I was there with my house at the end of the wand, and, all this marketing just came to mind, and it just grew from there. And I literally got my logo made and bought the dress. So, there's
That's
that.
so cool.
So I've done photo shoots with the dress. I'm getting ready to start a video series on YouTube with the dress. And,
Oh,
I have all these visions of taking a house that's getting renovated and doing befores and afters, and, doing this with the, have the wand. So why not? But yeah, and then I just everything started coming together, like the logo, and then how I market myself. And, I'm the queen of writing note cards, as all of the people here know. That's kind of my golden ticket, I call it. And then all of my cards have my logo or a picture of me with my wand. And I send out little charm wands when I write note cards, so that, it's all tied together, and it just keeps coming and coming and coming. So I think I always recommend that somebody in your brand, this is the most important part, has to be you. Like, this is completely 150 million% me, but this is not Sarah that lives next door or that was working at this. Sarah is, I have great examples with the people I've partnered with that, like, for example, Elizabeth Nightingale, she felt a connection to the oysters in Charleston. And so, sorry, my phone is going off.
No problem.
Stop. So anyway, she felt this connection to the oysters in Charleston. And so she made a logo, and it had the skyline of Charleston inside an oyster shell. Like,
cool.
the Charleston is your oyster. Like, I'm like, that kind of stuff is so awesome, because that's her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it has to be you in your regular life and in your real estate career. It has to be one and the
100%.
same.
I'm glad you mentioned all that. I'll give you the first thought that popped in my head when you were talking is everything that you just said is about how you want the client to feel.
Yes.
You wanted them to feel like you were there to be their cheerleader, like whether they can afford the waterfront or not, you care about what they want.
Right.
So
True.
the feeling that definitely stood out to me. And even the oyster example, that is a feeling as well, because having the Charleston as your oyster, that is a feeling that you can portray upon your clients as well.
Right.
And I think,
exactly.
Just from the creativity standpoint, if nothing else, if people don't appreciate that you're being unique and you're being, man, I can tell you, there's so many agents that rely on the big brokers box template, right? Let's say, I don't want to pick on any one company, but Sotheby's is a national brand. So basically everyone on the call knows of them. They all Sotheby's agents across the country, they have the same font, the same logo, the same color scheme, the same. And it's like, but aren't you all like a little bit different? So I'm a huge believer in personal branding. So it's powerful when you can have your own look and your own, because I will tell you, the only reason anyone will ever work with you is because they like you, so you gotta be you. And I also like that you said you cannot, and I'm glad you brought it up, you cannot have a double life. You cannot be one person on the weekends, or real estate, we work on weekends, but can't be one person on Monday and a different person on Tuesday. So you got to be you. Embrace it, embrace your uniqueness, embrace your weirdness, whatever you got going, just do it. And,
embrace your weirdness, as my 14-year-old daughter says, as like she drives around in my car that is completely wrapped, and it's a big white car. So she's like, oh my God, but she gets it. She like is proud of me, but she's embarrassed at the same time. She knows that, my clients, they were like, people out of the Caribou Sky, lenders and like old people and young people, they're always like, I love that. They will like come up to me in the parking lot and say, that is so cool. Do you have a business card? Like, it's just a different way to look at things, and it's how I look at things. So, and I want them to feel like they are special, and I'm granting them the fairy godmother wish by helping them find their house because they're special, And another thing too is that I think a lot of people come to me and say, oh my God, my last experience in real estate was a horror show. It was a hot mess. And I'm like, well, guess what? With me, I'm going to take on all that hot mess stuff. And I want you, every time you get stressed out about the process, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to wave my magic wand, and all those stress things are going to go away. I'm taking them on. You're going to lay in bed and think about where you want your furniture to go. What color are you going to paint your walls? Every time those thoughts go through your head, go, the real estate fairy godmother, she's got this. I'm going to just think about this other fun stuff. So I try to make it like that. Unless there's something I need to tell you, I'm not going to tell you much, because you don't need to know all the gobbledygook that goes on behind the scenes. It's magical, like Cinderella.
Oh, I love it. It all ties together beautifully. I love it.
Yep.
So you did the car wrap, you've got the thank you cards that have
Yep.
say a little charm that goes with it.
Yep, I have a little real estate fairy godmother charm that I put in the envelope with that. And I also have other charms too. Like say I know my client loves elephants. I have like a good luck elephant in there. I've got all kinds of like hobby charms. I just was like making earrings one day and I was like, I could put these little charms. They're not expensive. They're from Amazon. I'll just throw these in the cards. And people were like, I love that little necklace charm you gave me, or that I'll use this when I do this. And some people have them next to their bed. They got like, I have 4 or 5 charms from you and I just keep them next to my bed. Or if, someone's relative passes away, I send something that, resonates with them, like a angel or a cross or something, they're all different ones. So if it's just a generic and I don't know much about them, I'll send a little wand with it. Yeah.
Well, it makes them feel special, right?
Yeah.
Or if I got that in the mail, I would feel like, wow, I mean, a card alone makes you feel special, but then that's a whole nother level to it that really makes them feel special. And I think if people get to meet you in person, they will 100% feel your energy towards them. And I know if they Google you, they're going to feel that same energy because I've looked you up. You have the same strong.
Good. I haven't looked myself up in a while.
Yeah, the same strong presence online. And I imagine too, there's probably some people that, let's say, we'll pick on the guys, like some grumpy guy, like, oh, what's this all about? Like some stupid crown or whatever. So what do you say to that guy? Do you try to convince him, or do you just let your tribe be your tribe? And
I think as I've gotten older and I've been in the business a while now, I think the people that are supposed to work with me want to work with me, and the other people that don't, I probably don't want to work with them either, and it kind of is a natural selection in a way with it. When you brand yourself, you kind of attract the right people to you. Like I have an interior designer that I work with quite frequently, and she says to me, you always have the best clients.
Yeah.
But that's not an accident. I do have the best clients, and luckily, we all have a couple of the, ones that are tough, but for the most part, I have fabulous clients. So
it's so true. I actually have said that some of my most difficult clients were actually referrals. And the reason was because somebody else just was like, here, you should work with Danae. And we weren't actually a good fit.
Right.
Most of the time it actually is a good fit because if they're being referred, they're like, if my friend Jen referred you, you're friends with Jen, I'm friends with Jen, we're all going to get along. But those, by branding yourself, that does attract the people that is your tribe, right? People you're supposed to work with. So that's like a huge added benefit that your real estate business is a good one in that you enjoy what you do too.
Yeah. And another thing too, that goes along with the social media presence, and I think most people that are buying houses are usually on Facebook or some sort of thing like that, but mostly Facebook. And that's kind of where I focus my energy. But I think what's really interesting about Facebook is that I'll get a cold lead. It's not a cold lead, but say a lead from somewhere, and they say, hey, we're moving to the Charleston area, and I get some relocation people, and we have a few conversations, and I feel like I've talked to them enough so that we can look each other up on Facebook. And then by the time they come to visit 3 months later, they've seen my daughter, they've seen my big, huge, giant Maine Coon cats, they've seen my car, probably, they've Googled me. Yes. So it adds that extra level of, oh my God, I already know her. Yes. Like they get out of the car and I'm like, oh, hey, Sarah, I already feel like I know you. So it's kind of really that level of just feeling like associated with somebody and that you're friends,
Yeah. So, all right, guys, I hope you're taking notes. I hope you have a strong online presence, have a good bio, have a good headshot. And I also hope you have a strong brand. And when you do those things combined, you're going to have people just call you and be like, we don't want to interview you. We just want to work with you. They already know that you're the one for them and vice versa. So it's all powerful stuff. I'm going to share our contact info. And if you guys are watching and you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat. You can raise your hand or you can do the Q&A. If you kind of hover your mouse on the bottom of the Zoom, those buttons should pop up. And genuinely, like, we're here to help. So reach out to us. If we can help, we'd be happy to. 1 second here. We'll get our contact info on the screen. And I'll tell you too, so if you're not watching us live, this will be rebroadcast on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, and you didn't get the chance to raise your hand or chat, or maybe you're too shy, you can always shoot us an email, or connect with us on social media.
Yes,
So here's our
definitely.
contact information. I think it's helpful if you follow us, this at Danae Bali, at RE Fairy Godmother. Those are our Instagram handles, and of course our EXP email addresses. So yeah, it's been fun hanging with you.
Yeah, thanks, Tanae. It's been
Tell you
awesome.
what, any South Carolina deals I have are going your way. Referral
And
business.
you, same with you, Orange County.
All right. Well, I think we'll stop the meeting here and appreciate you all hanging out. We'll see you on the next one.
Great. Thanks,
Bye, guys.
guys. Have a great day.